Right now, look around you. Your room is illuminated by hundreds of invisible threads of electricity. Flipping a switch isn't a miracle to us. It's just habit. But what if we wiped all of it away? No light bulbs, no refrigerators, no warm showers, no battery icons. Step back over 1,000 years into the year 950 AD. The medieval world didn't just lack power, it lived in a completely different relationship with nature. When the sun went down, the world simply ceased to exist. Welcome to the 10th century, a time where survival was a full-time job and darkness was a living, breathing entity. Let's spend a full day in the shoes of someone who lived without a single watt of energy. Your day doesn't start with a smartphone alarm. It starts around 4 a.m. with the bitter cold. You wake up inside a wooden pit house or timber cabin. There are no glass windows, only wooden shutters. Opening them means letting the light in, but losing all the precious heat. Look up at the ceiling. Notice something missing? There is no chimney. Most 10th century peasant homes were smokehouses. The fire was built right on the dirt floor, and smoke slowly drifted out through a small hole in the roof. Your lungs and eyes constantly burned. Ash was everywhere, on your skin, in your food, and on your clothes. Thirsty? You can't just turn a tap. Getting water means walking to the nearest freezing river or wooden well with 2 heavy buckets. In winter, you had to break the ice first. Washing your face was a luxury of icy shock. Breakfast wasn't coffee or toast. It was usually pottage, a thick, slow-cooked grain porridge made with barley or oats, mixed with cabbage or onions. If you were lucky, you had a hard crust of dark rye bread. Tea and coffee didn't exist in Europe yet. You drank water, weak ale, or fermented mead, because alcohol was often safer to drink than standing water. Without tractors or electricity, 90% of the population had to farm just to feed themselves. To get one single loaf of bread, you had to plow fields with oxen, plant seeds by hand, harvest wheat with a hand sickle, thrash it, and grind it with heavy millstones. A single bad season meant starvation for your entire village. Need a shirt? You couldn't buy one. You had to shear sheep, spin wool into thread using a drop spindle, weave it on a wooden loom, and hand sew it. A single tunic took months to make. That's why people owned only 1 or 2 outfits for their entire lives. How did people tell time? Minutes didn't exist for the average peasant. Time was measured by the sun and church bells. You worked from sunrise to sunset. Life moved at the slow, steady rhythm of nature. Spring for planting, summer for growing, autumn for harvest, and winter for survival. Without electricity came a complete absence of modern medicine. Antibiotics, sterile tools, and electric heating were centuries away. A simple toothache could turn into a fatal infection. Herbs, prayers, and superstition were the only doctors available. As twilight fell, a new battle began. Artificial light was insanely expensive. Wax candles were reserved for kings and churches. Peasants used tallow candles made from smelly animal fat or simple rushlights, dried reeds dipped in grease. They smoked, smelled terrible, and gave off barely enough light to see your own hand. Because the night was so dark, the forest outside your village felt terrifying. Without streetlights, the darkness beyond the campfire was absolute. This is why medieval folklore was filled with monsters, goblins, and forest spirits. People didn't just tell scary stories. They truly believed the darkness was inhabited by evil. Yet, there was beauty in this dark world. Because there were no individual screens to stare into, night forced people together. Whole families and neighbors gathered around a single fire. They talked, sang songs, played simple wooden games, and passed down legends from generation to generation. And if you stepped outside on a clear 10th century night, you saw something almost no human sees today. A sky completely untainted by light pollution. The Milky Way was so bright it cast shadows on the ground. The universe felt infinitely close. The people of the 10th century were not primitive or weak. They were incredibly resilient. Every single one of us is descended from someone who survived those cold, dark nights without a single piece of modern technology. Next time you turn on a light, take a hot shower, or charge your phone, Remember the world of 950 AD. We conquered the darkness and cold. But maybe tonight, turn off your lights for just 5 minutes and listen to the quiet.